Gaming Manual.
It can be comfortably beaten within an hour or an hour and a half if you're trying to go for the good ending and get all the extra hidden treasures. Hey everyone, this is Josh from the Gaming Manual. Today on Deep Dive, we're taking a look at DuckTales for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Hey, real quick, the Gaming Manual now has an official Patreon page. That's right, you can now show your continued support and join our Patreon and see your name in the credits or vote on future Gaming Manual videos. See the details pinned in the comments below. Alright, let's rock and roll.
DuckTales was part of the Disney Afternoon block, all of which were eventually turned into a video game that was developed by Capcom, and was the first one from the block to be released in 1989. What stands out to me the most are the sound effects and music. Awesome. Just from that alone, you already know that it's going to be a good game. But if you need any more evidence, just listen to the moon level. The music for this level is the most recognizable and iconic of all soundtracks in this game. It was even used in the remake of the TV show. As for the gameplay itself, it is rather easy with only 5 levels and only one means of truly attacking, using your trusty pogo cane. There are also 3 different difficulties and a non-linear exploration, similar to Mega Man. It can be comfortably beaten within an hour or an hour and a half if you're trying to go for the good ending and get all the extra hidden treasures. There are 3 difficulty settings: easy, normal, and difficult. On easy, it takes 2 hits for you to lose 1 life point. On normal and difficulty, taking 1 hit removes 1 hit point. And on difficulty, you'll actually have 1 less starting hit point at the beginning of the game. The controls. Left and right will move Scrooge McDuck in the corresponding direction, while up and down will move Scrooge in the corresponding directions when he is climbing on a rope, chain, or anything else. The select button can change the difficulty at the main menu. If you press and hold it during a level, it will refill your life meter, but this will cost you $3 million to do so. Start button. This will pause and unpause the game. The A button is how you perform a jump. If you press down while holding the jump button, you'll actually be able to use your cane. To perform the pogo cane, you need to jump with the A button. While in the air, you need to press down and hold B. Scrooge will then begin pogoing on his cane every time he hits the ground or an enemy. You can also let go of the B button or stop holding the down button in order to stop performing the pogo jump. This could be useful if there's spikes above you and you're trying to avoid jumping into them. The golf swing. When standing next to an object, if you press the B button, Scrooge will try to swing his cane into it like it's a golf club. If the object can be moved, it'll be moved forward. If not, you'll hear a strange buzzing sound. The in-game items. For the small diamonds, you get 2,000 points. The large diamonds are worth 10,000, and the red diamonds are worth 50,000. The magic coin will make you invincible for a short amount of time. Ice cream will restore 1 hit point to Uncle Scrooge. A cake will restore all hit points. The Scrooge doll will give you an extra life. The skeleton key is required to get access to the African mines. The UFO key is found inside of the flying saucer and required in order to beat the moon level. Remote control. You'll need to find this to call Gizmo to help you on the moon. There are also some helpful characters that you can find along the way. Huey, Dewey, and Louie will sometimes be able to give you hints, when they're not getting captured, of course. Bubba Duck can be found in the Himalayas to give you an extra health point, to increase your maximum hit points. Miss Beakley can be found in some of the levels, and she will give you ice cream and cakes to help restore you back to full health. Gizmo Duck can be found on the moon, but only after you found the remote control. And finally, Launchpad. Launchpad can be found in every stage except for Transylvania. When you encounter him, he'll ask if you want to return back to Duckburg. If the 5th digit within your score is a 7, he'll actually take you to a bonus stage instead, where you can collect a bunch of diamonds. You'll need to do this if you're trying to get the good ending, as a normal playthrough on its own won't have enough points to get you over the 10,000 point threshold that you need. The player HUD. At the top of the screen, you'll have the current amount of money or points that you have found for this level. Below it will be red dots indicating your HP or hit points. The total money in the middle is the amount of money that you've found in all levels so far and the current value inside of the money bin. The P below the total is the current number of players that you have remaining. When this reaches zeros, you lose the game. And on the right side, you have the timer. When this reaches 0, you lose 1 player. There are 3 different endings. The normal default ending, all you need to have is $1 or more and less than 10 million. For the good ending, you'll need 10 million and the 2 hidden treasures. For the bad ending, this is actually the hardest one as it requires you to have $0. This can be done by using the select button to heal yourself until you're broke. However, it has to be exactly a multiple of 3 million. Because like I said before, if you have even $1, you'll get the default normal ending, which is surprising that the bad ending is actually one of the hardest ones to get. For this deep dive, we are going to focus on beating the game. I will mention where the 2 hidden treasures are, as well as some areas that have lots of diamonds. If you want to get the good ending for yourself, you'll need to make use of Launchpad to make sure you get the bonus levels, as that's really the only way to ensure that you're going to get the 10 million necessary for the good ending. To reach the bonus level, you need to actually find Launchpad McQuack. He can be found in every single level. He'll ask if you want to return to Duckburg. If you say yes, he'll take you back. And then if you return to the level, he'll no longer be available. However, if the 5th digit from the right is a 7, when you talk to Launchpad, he'll actually take you to a bonus level instead. In this bonus level, you'll actually have Gyro Gearloose fly in front of you, dropping diamonds that are worth 10,000 apiece. All you have to do is follow behind him and collect them as he goes. The Amazon. I recommend starting with this level for 2 reasons. 1, it's a good place to learn the controls with plenty of power-ups to help you out. And 2, it is the most linear level in the game. From the start, we want to head right until we find a man-eating plant that's guarding the vine that heads down into a cave. If you drop down into the cave, you'll find a spool that you can hit to the left and use it as a stepping stool, using your pogo cane to get up to the top. Similar to Super Mario Bros., you'll end up above the screen. But don't stop in the first room, because there's actually a second room behind it. While these aren't required, there are a lot of diamonds and even some health items here, so it's a great place to load up on some money if you're trying to get the 10 million for the good ending. Once you're topside, you'll find that there is a chest with a magic coin in it. Grabbing this will make you invincible for a short amount of time, and you're easily able to run through enemies and over the spikes. However, there are some vines hanging, and the middle one can actually lead up to an area that has 2 red diamonds in it. Both are located inside the chest, so break them open and then continue forward. When you're climbing the vines, make sure you try to stay near the top, as bees will continue to spawn and they tend to weave in an up and down motion as they head towards you. To the far right, you'll find a vine that leads both up and down. Down leads to the dangerous dungeon below, where you have the 1-up. And up is the correct way to go. There's even a sign pointing this out for you. Take your time climbing up, as once again, there will be more bees that spawn. However, there is a red diamond that you can grab in a chest here, and at the very top, an ice cream. You want to make your way left, but you'll need to take your time, as bees will spawn indefinitely at this point for this section. The best way is to just take your time, falling back if you need to, so that you don't have to worry about jumping on them and falling off. The hardest part here is actually going to be getting onto the helicopter and avoiding the bees at the same time. If you have an extra hit point, the easiest way to do this is to take a hit while holding the rope so you don't get knocked down to the pit below, and then jumping down to safety using the invincibility frames. When you reach the bridge, you're going to want to run and don't stop, as it will keep falling even if you don't touch the floor. Jumping or using the pogo cane can help out, but be careful, as sometimes the game will glitch and push you backwards, letting you fall to your death. Next, we'll want to climb up the vine to lead into the temple. This temple will count as a checkpoint as well. Above us, we'll see Launchpad. He'll take you back to Duckburg, or if you have a 7 in the 5th digit as I mentioned before, he can take you to the bonus level. Alternatively, I would recommend saying no to go behind to a secret area that's located above him. Here you can find 2 more diamonds and 2 healing items. As you backtrack, you can once again talk to Launchpad. He'll be able to return you to Duckburg at this time. You should take it, assuming you have the money to reach the bonus level, and if you're going for the good ending. Otherwise, say no and continue forward. It won't be long before a boulder drops behind you. Don't worry, as it won't kill you instantly and you'll just take a hit. If you're trying to stay healthy for the boss fight, make sure you use your pogo cane only on the second half when there's spikes on the floor. If you do it at the beginning, there are spikes at the start, and you'll likely end up taking 2 hits, one from the spike and one from the boulder. After the boulder section, there's 2 ways you can go from here. First, you can continue to the right, dealing with several enemies and a statue that demands money. However, Scrooge didn't become the richest duck in Duckburg by throwing money away. So instead, you can use an enemy to reach the vine above. The only benefit to doing that is there is a 1-up in this chest. Otherwise, I would recommend you use the other path that I'm going to discuss now. After the boulder, there'll be a small opening in the ceiling above you. If you lure an enemy over, you can actually bounce off the top of their head using your pogo cane and grab an invisible vine. Climb all the way to the top and go to the right and you'll be teleported to the boss fight. This boss is fairly simple, as all he will do is slide left and right and occasionally jump. I recommend waiting until it lands after jumping before jumping on his head with your pogo cane. Do this 5 times and you'll win. Transylvania. If you know where you're going in this level, it can be beaten very quickly in only a couple of minutes. And the power-up isn't even out of the way. It's pretty much on the way to the boss fight, making it a very useful item. The mirrors act as a teleporter. They activate as soon as you touch it, and you'll need to use them to reach the boss. Start by going right, but be careful of the skeleton ducks, as they can only be hurt when they are charging towards you and not when they are a pile of bones. You'll want to make your way to the first chain that you see hanging from the ceiling. Grab it and climb up. You will see a Bugle Boy and Huey that you can save. When you save him, he'll tell you that there is a false wall. This is a hint that you need to check the walls to make sure you can find a false wall. With this knowledge, you want to instead head as far right as you can. You'll come across some duck mummies that can be killed if you hit the ball and chain into them. At the end, you will find a coffin. If you use your pogo to get on top of it and walk to the right, you will find the first false wall. Break open the chest and grab the power-up. Backtrack to the chain and go up. Once again, you'll need to go as far right as you can, taking out the duck mummy that's blocking the way, and you'll walk into the second false wall. Here, there'll be 2 mirrors. The left mirror is the one that sends you back into the hallway you just came from, and the right one will send you to the boss. There will be ghosts that spawn in, similar to the bees in the Amazon. The best way to handle this is to let one ghost spawn in and keep it on screen. This will stop other ghosts from spawning in and potentially hurting you. For this boss fight, we'll be going against Magica Dispel, Scrooge's arch nemesis. Well, one of them. She'll turn into a vulture and fly around before landing, before transforming back into her duck form and firing off 3 lightning bolts in a 45-degree angle. The best way to deal with her is to use the pogo cane and hit her on top of the head right after she lands. If you try to hit her in the vulture form, I usually end up taking a hit, but it is possible if she's low enough to the ground. After 5 hits, you will once again be able to collect the treasure. The African Mines. This level starts out a little bit confusing, especially if you've never played the game before, as very quickly you'll run into Louis, who will notify you that you need a key to continue forward, followed by being immediately transported to Transylvania. Now, you can end up lost in here for a really long time, especially since the way to get the key is to go into a teleporter that isn't usually activated. At the start of the level, you'll see a mirror, which is usually the return when you take a wrong path. Now that you've gone to the African Mines, you can use the pogo cane to get up there, and it'll actually teleport you to a room that has a large treasure chest, and inside of it, the key to the mines. If you try to head back into the mirror using the right, it won't work. Instead, use the left mirror, which will then take you back to the level select. Once you have the key, you can actually play the African Mines level correctly. Louis will no longer be present, so you can just walk past it. To start off, we're going to want to head to the right until you see a chain that's going down. Alternatively, you can keep going right to find a magic coin in a treasure chest, as well as 2 more treasure chests. Now backtrack to the right. This time, go to the right side, ignoring the chain that goes down. This may look like a dead end, but if you actually go to the edge and jump, you'll see an enemy jump from the screen below. You'll need to use the pogo cane to jump across 4 enemies in a row as a makeshift bridge. Once you land, keep going to the right, and you'll see a large treasure chest that this time contains a hidden treasure. You'll need to collect this and then go down the chain on the right side. From here, head directly to the left, as this will lead to the boss room. If you go down, you'll actually get stuck in a man-eaten plant. The rest of the level can't be accessed this way since you're not supposed to come from this direction. For the boss fight, well, you know those small slimes that you've been stomping on throughout the level? He's just a bigger version of it. He'll bounce a couple of times in the middle of the room before rolling either left or right, making a full circle around the whole room. The easiest way to deal with this boss is to immediately jump on him as soon as you are able to, and then, after he makes his second jump, immediately jump into the air. After hitting him and landing on the opposite side, immediately jump again. He will begin rolling in either direction. Regardless, you should be able to dodge him safely, and then repeat this process 4 more times for the treasure. The Himalayas. The second health power-up can be found in this level, but it does require a little bit of extra work compared to the other one, and can be a little bit more challenging to get if you don't feel confident in your skills to go across ice with your pogo cane. Speaking of which, there is ice and snow in this level. If you try to use a pogo and land on the snow, you'll instead get stuck in the snow and be at risk of getting hit. If you do get stuck, you can free yourself by pressing the jump button. As for the ice, well, it's ice. You'll slip around and the controls feel very loose. But strangely enough, if you use your pogo cane, the ice effect immediately ends. This is a good tech to use if you find yourself sliding into danger. You can just do a quick pogo to stop yourself and get rid of all of that extra momentum. Just be careful, as oftentimes there's icicles hanging wherever there's ice on the floor. So just make sure you don't bounce into them by mistake. For this level, you want to go all the way to the right. There's a rope leading down about halfway through. Ignore it, because we want to get to the hidden area. At the end, you'll notice a dip in the snow. Make sure you grab all the treasure chests before heading down, as when you jump down, you'll immediately fall into another room. Here, you want to jump around on the left side to spawn in a 1-up. On the right side, there'll be 2 chests that you can grab. Once again, drop down, and this time you'll see Launchpad. If you want the health power-up, you'll need to continue downwards and then all the way to the left. But you'll need to be careful, as there's plenty of enemies down here, including spiders. These can be tricky enemies to deal with, so you have to try to bait them out by making them go down really far and then safely jumping underneath them. Continue making your way to the left and you'll come across 2 columns of snow. You'll need to use the ice blocks in order to pogo onto the top of these columns, but be careful, as these ice blocks will break once you jump on them. If you keep going, you'll eventually find Huey yet again, who tells you that Bubba has been trapped in ice. Take out the enemy, and if you manage to use it to bounce high enough, you'll actually spawn a magic coin, making the next section very easy, as the icicles that hang here will actually fall when you get near them. Carefully navigate all the way to the far left, where you'll see Bubba frozen in ice. Knock the spool to the left. Use the pogo cane as a stepping stool to bounce on top of the ice. Make sure you don't land in front of Bubba, as this can freeze and soft lock the game, requiring a hard reset. Once Bubba is free, he will smash open the left wall, revealing a chest that has a power-up. Inside of it is the health power-up. You'll need to backtrack all the way to the launch pad, or alternatively, you can simply fall into the pit, and then you'll respawn where Launchpad is. From here, you want to actually make your way left from Launchpad. Be careful not to fall down below, as you can either result in an instant death or fall back to that other area we just came from. There's not much to do here other than to slowly make your way left. There will be a few enemies that you'll need to deal with, but shouldn't be too much of trouble. And remember, if you start losing control, use your pogo cane to get rid of that extra slippery momentum and return yourself to normal. When you come across a rope, grab it. You can continue onwards to the left, however I wouldn't recommend this. There's a lot of instant death that's possible And for what you get, it's a couple of red diamonds. Start climbing up the rope, and you'll immediately notice that in the next screen, there is a large blue boulder falling down. Quickly jump into the left hole. Let the boulder fall past you, and then continue your ascent. At the top, there'll be another bugle boy. This time, you don't want to kill him right away. Wait until he's next to the left side of the wall, and then use him as a jumping platform to get up above. You'll have to use your cane to knock away a couple of spools that you can't see off screen. Once you do, you'll be able to go over and pick up a red diamond. The boss can be found from this section by heading to the far left. The tricky part here is you'll see a yellow platform. Much like the bridge, as soon as you are over it, it begins moving. The best recommendation I have is as soon as possible, jump off of this platform and onto the safety of the floating blocks in the air. It may seem strange and seem safer to ride the platform, but there's a good chance you'll actually fall off. Carefully navigate your way all the way to the left and into the boss fight. For this boss fight, it's a fairly simple boss that shouldn't be too much of a problem. He'll hop across the screen in 2 big leaps. He then punches the wall, causing giant snowballs to fall from above. He repeats this over and over again. I find it easiest to pounce on his head while he's in the middle after his first jump. You can hit him when he's against the wall. I always end up taking a hit from the falling snowballs when I do this. For me, it's better to take it slow rather than trying to rush through it. The moon. You're going to find the robot duck is the enemy that will be respawning endlessly. They can make for great stepping stones. They can also get in your way if you're not careful. We actually need to find 2 items for this level. First, we need to find a key for the UFO, and then second, we need to find Gizmo's remote control. From the beginning, we want to make our way to the right. When you see a rope, immediately grab it and climb up. Once you're in the new room, immediately climb the next rope above it. Here, you're going to want to go left. Try to avoid killing the robot duck if you can, as doing so will cause a new one to spawn that could easily block your path. On the far side, there is yet another hidden path that can be reached with a spool. If you actually go to the very bottom and jump around, it has a cake which will restore you to full health. Go back and grab the rope that's being guarded by the 2 floating enemies. At the top, on the left side, is the UFO key, a key item that you'll need for the next part. Alternatively, you can also go over to the right side and find Launchpad. Once again, this really only matters if you're going for the good ending and need the 10 million in the money bin. We'll need to backtrack all the way to the entrance, and this time, once we're at the entrance, head to the left. The next time you see a rope, climb it, and climb all the way to the very top, as this is where the second hidden treasure is located. You're going to need some very skillful pogo cane jumping, as you'll need to bounce on a couple of enemies, followed by spikes that are floating in the air. Once you get the treasure, backtrack the way you came, this time only going down 1 screen, and then to the right. You'll see 3 red floating enemies guarding the remote control for Gizmo Duck. Go ahead and pick it up, and you'll see Scrooge happily exclaim, "Bless me bagpipes." This is a good indication that you can now finish the level. Head back to the entrance yet again, and this time climb down carefully. Remember, there is a hole, so if you jump down, you'll pretty much be jumping to your death. Carefully jump to the right. Continue making your way right, carefully, timing your jumps so that the robo-duck doesn't take you down with them, as there is a large gap here, with a yellow platform that moves back and forth, with an infinite number of robo-ducks just spawning in and diving down to their deaths. A well-timed jump can safely get you past this, and as soon as you land, only a few steps in, Gizmo Duck will show up and blow open a path to the boss room. Jump down and head left to the boss. The boss room will be located to the right side. There will also be some bugle boys in here, so go ahead and take them out as you make your way over. This might actually be one of the harder bosses in this game, simply because of how erratic it behaves. To start with, you're going to want to get out of the corner. The rat will immediately run to the middle and have all of the hair stick up. It will then do one of 2 things. It will run into one corner, or it will jump up onto one of the platforms and then back down. The trick here is try to land on the rat as soon as it goes back to the middle and then safely bounce away. If you're too late, there's a good chance that the rat will actually jump up into you, causing you to take damage. 5 hits is all you'll need, and once you do, you'll be able to get the last treasure. Immediately upon returning back to the money bin, you'll see all of the treasures spew away from Scrooge and a message come up saying that you need to return to Dracula Manor. Yes, that's right. we have to go back to Transylvania again. Only this time, there will be no items in the level. So, whatever your current score is, will be your final score. You'll want to make your way back to where we fought Magica Dispel. Follow in the same path as before. Go right, grab the first chain, climb up, go right, grab the first chain, go right, and into the right mirror. Wow. Almost seems unnecessary to do all this, doesn't it? This boss fight is more tedious than it is hard. He'll never actually fly down low enough to the ground, and he'll teleport around and unleash a single bat that will fly towards you in a weave-in motion, similar to the bee. You need to use the bat as a stepping stool to bounce up and actually hit Dracula. Just like before, you only need to get 5 hits in to win, but don't relax just yet. As soon as Dracula is defeated, Magica Dispel and Flintheart Glomgold will immediately show up and challenge you to get in the treasure. Immediately jump up onto the rope that appears, and keep climbing. Don't stop. It's a race to the top, and a race to see who's going to get the treasure after all. Congratulations, you've beaten the game. Sit back and enjoy the credits. The only difference, as I said before, will be the first scene that shows a newspaper, depending on which ending you get. Otherwise, the remainder of the ending sequence remains the exact same. This is Josh from the Gaming Manual. If you liked what you saw, hit the like and subscribe button, if you haven't already. Let us know of your opinions of the game in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next video.
Gaming Manual